Yeah, because I can't go nowhere because you're gonna see fridge.
Hey,
You send me to the kitchen.
this is it. This is it. How you doing, guys?
We're good. We're good.
How you, Inessa?
Good, good. I'm very good.
At least you're indoors this week. Okay, so let's get this is it. Real episode 1, because the first one was like called episode 0. For some reason, that's how you're supposed to number them. I've got no idea. But we're going into episode 1 now of This Is It. So, welcome to This Is It. And wow, it's very exciting because we're actually going on. Sometimes when you do something, you don't know if it's ever going to happen again. And here we are again. So that's wonderful. How you doing, Mitchell?
I'm good. I'm really well. I've had a good week so far. Yeah, it's all been good.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that soon, and it's great to see Inessa here. Avril's coming in right away saying, hello there, Dov, Inessa and Mitchell. So that's great that Avril's already here. Hi, how you doing? Oh, fantastic, you're here. And Sheila's already coming in from British Columbia in Canada. So it's wonderful to have them with us. So thank you for that, Sheila. And welcome to This Is It. And if you can, share, like, and tag this. This is reality TV, basically, on social media. We've got there's not a scripted program. It's whatever happens. It's real life. That's why we've called it This Is It. And I just heard recently that, now on the news, that Wales looks like it's going to go into full lockdown. So I wanted to ask you both, what do you think of all this? I mean, you're in London, right? So you've just gone into what's called Tier 2, same as Manchester, whatever that means.
Have we actually gone into Tier? I thought Tier 2 might be coming Friday at midnight.
Right. Okay. So could be. I've got no idea. This is exactly my point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bit confusing. I'm finding the whole thing. Wales saying that they're going to go into. It looks like it's imminent for them to separately go into full lockdown or breaker mode or whatever it's called, circuit breaker, or the new name for it. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this? Without getting into like real politics, just the idea of the whole thing. We can get into politics if you want, but I mean, like, what do you think of this thing?
Very confusing. Very confusing. Because it's very kind of like when you think, you have to stay at home, you can't socialize with people, but then pubs and restaurants still open till 10 o'clock. Don't go to the work, maybe you go to the work, and it's just, it's just really confusing.
That's the confusion bit. When they say that they want you to, let's say, I think London's going into Tier 2. So basically that means you can socialise with the people within your bubble or your home, but not to socialise too much with people outside of that. Yet you're going to keep restaurants and bars open till 10 o'clock, which means that obviously people are going to go to restaurants and bars because that's what people do, obviously, and especially, young people as well. Everyone wants to go out and enjoy themselves. That's what you do when you're younger. You want to get out there and have fun. And not to say that us elderly people, not to say that we don't want to go out, but we just want to go out and maybe sit down and have something to eat. But regards to all that, it can be confusing because you don't really know. So what is the point of certain things? Because if you can still go to a pub or still go to a restaurant where there's a mass of people in a small area, yet they don't want you to socialize with people outside of your actual home. So that's my confusion sometimes.
I also go along with the confusion. I also think it's an interesting phenomena. I don't hear it being spoken about a lot at all, really, as a discussion. But the whole idea of the home nations being totally different, right? So there's these devolved nations now, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, leaving England as an undevolved nation, basically. But yet they're all going at different paces. They're all going at with different rules and regulations, basically. Some of them talking about closing borders totally, which is Wales at the moment, talking about closing off borders, which will be the first time, basically, that in the United Kingdom, for hundreds of years, basically, that there's actually been closed borders depending on where you're living. So that adds, I think, to the confusion, certainly for me. And on top of all that, there's a lot of scientists coming out, epidemiologists coming out, lots of people coming out saying, look, there's possibly an alternative to this lockdown. Maybe it's not what we thought it was. Maybe, it's just putting off the inevitable. Maybe we're just all hiding in our houses thinking that the virus will go away. But when we come back out again, poof, and that's what we've found, that the numbers start to go up again. It doesn't seem to be surprising, but it's not necessarily going to go away the next time you do it. The numbers will drop, it seems, but then they'll go back up again.
But
yeah,
I was going to say, regards to that, I guess really, I don't know how anyone can think it's not going to go away. It's here. I mean, a bit like flus, colds, they come in certain times, different points of the year. Someone gets sick, someone gets ill, and I think that to some degree, you're going to look at it to that, how it's just I guess a more complicated virus, and obviously, from what we've seen, a lot more threatening. It seems to be a lot more threatening with the lungs and stuff like that. But then other people are saying that you can have joint pain. It's very difficult because it's not been pinpointed. I don't think they're struggling to find out. I guess, with colds and flus, you've got an idea of where it's going to affect and maybe a time scale. With this, it doesn't seem to have that at the moment. I guess that's the scary thing as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very scary. Just the point, and we'll move on. But another point is it seems that for SARS and for Ebola, which are kind of in the family of coronavirus, but they don't have vaccines for these either. And these are 18 years old, you know what I mean? So the chances of us having a vaccine, or the chances of us having a vaccine and us being the ones getting the vaccine the chances are going down and down and down that you'll actually be picked to get a vaccine, and who knows how effective that vaccine is going to be. We'll just have to wait and see. But Avril has been saying that she thinks there should be periodic circuit breakers with full financial support, with the rest of the time devoted to focused targeting, which makes a lot of sense, apart from the fact that she also says we can't lock down for the rest of our lives. And I think that's very true. I think the financial burden will kill a lot more people, possibly than this will. And also the fact that there's a lot of people that are needing other medical attention. They're just not getting it. Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going into the winter time, and in general, things are getting colder. I've got a bit of a t-shirt on because I've got the heating on, to tell the truth. But I go out every day on walks, and you can feel the weather changing. It's getting that nippy bit to it. That kind of, which I find quite fresh. I quite like it. But what is your week's held for you?
What regards to what in general? I mean, I don't mind the cold. I mean, I'm avid cold showers, cold bath. I have those daily. So,
really?
And also, if I go out on my bike, I much prefer to go out when it's pouring with rain, and it's really just the rain. It's just I prefer going out when it's raining.
I've got a friend in Sweden who does morning dips in the water. It's freezing cold.
Yes.
You like that? Inessa, you like it?
Actually, when I was child, it was kind of part in the ex-Soviet Union countries to stay under cold shower, Or even we have on YouTube somewhere a video when they used to take the small kids outside when the snow and cold, just only in underwear, and we was taking the little bucket with cold water, ice water, put on ourselves, and then just run away. So this is how you make your immune system strong.
Well, and you did that? You did it?
I haven't done one in the nursery, but my dad did for me all the time in the winter. Yeah.
Did you like it, or was that kind of, oh my goodness, Dad, what are you doing?
It's kind of, I didn't really enjoy it.
I was hating my dad if he did that to me.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, but what I want to say, touch the wood, my health is quite good. I even don't remember when I had cold or like illnesses, and yeah, I just yeah, even at school, only couple people, like, because in winter season everyone get cold, flu. Well, I was very lucky with the immune system. So maybe this is the part of it.
Yeah, something. I know in Scotland there's some crazy people that do on the 1st of January they go swimming in the sea, and that's like super freezing.
Yeah, we have the same.
Well, you got that as well there, and
yeah.
If you think about it, sports people, footballers and everyone else, they have the ice bath after, and stuff like that, and a lot of people with regards to fitness, box, everyone, it's
there certainly seems to be something in it.
Yeah.
I don't particularly enjoy it. Yeah. But growing up in Scotland, you feel the cold, and you got the cold, and like you, Inessa, thank God, my immune system seems to be quite strong, and I don't usually get colds or flu, now and then, but nothing really. And that could also be because coming from a cold country.
Yeah, and also what we have even tradition. The people, like, it's kind of part of religion, Christian religion, Orthodox. So in the 19th of January, it was the baptism of the Jesus, what the people believed. So they, in the ice water, they broke the ice in the river. They broke the ice, and like a cross, and they swim there. So they come inside like 3 times because they believe the kind of holy water. So even sometimes they take in very small kids, like newborn babies, in that water, and by the statistically, is no one got ill. This is what kind of interesting. Yeah. So it's kind of part of even religion. Sometimes they use this.
Yeah. So what else? You do a lot of training, don't you, Mitchell?
I do. Well, yeah, not as much as I used to. I've slowed it. I've slowed it down a fair bit. But yeah, I trained last night. Actually, I did. Yeah, did some training last night, and trying to sort of push it a bit more and incorporate some, a bit more boxing and just a bit more like self defense, but not the traditional Krav Maga. I used to do Krav Maga. I loved Krav Maga. Really enjoyed doing that. And stuff like that. So, but yeah, I love anything to do with training, physical stuff like that. Really, really enjoy it. I've always enjoyed it.
So you just reminded me that Inessa does combat acting, right? So I mentioned this to a few people, and they're like, "What's that?" So what is that?
So I've been trained of the stage combat, which has included lots of different weapons, variety of the weapons, kind of like swords and shields, guns, knives, rapier, dagger, kota staff, and much more. All different weapons which you can learn how to fight for the stage and screen as well. It's quite intense training as well, and it's very interesting. Yeah, so I did this for 3 years training.
So you're a bit of a bond.
I would try to. I mean, one of my main goal was to be a stunt performer. But obviously, you have to pass a lot of different courses, which one of them is stage combat. I did horse riding as well. I ride a horse. And also you need to do martial arts, which I train on. For me, you need to pass 2 more belts to the black belt. So I do this one for last 3 years as well. and yeah, and lots of different courses, much more like diving, swimming as well. So this is still my goal. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. You know, I did kickboxing when I was a late teenager, early 20s, and it was Glasgow kickboxing, and me and my friend went, and we were getting on. We had to spar. It was full contact, and we had to spar for a bit, and everything was all good. We're going up in gradings and all this, and we got to a level where the teacher, you know, he was like, "Oh, we don't do any Chinese philosophy here. We don't do any of that. We are super street fighting kickboxers." And we're like, "Okay, that sounds good." And he said, he had professional, he's like semi-professional, and he had competitions, and he used to pick a certain amount of his students to practice on. So he picked me and my friend. He said, "You come on Sunday and you'll be part of the practice group and all that." I said, "Okay, that sounds good." So we arrived and we're all that we'd been picked and all this. We see the first guy going up and the teacher's in the ring, right? So the first guy goes up, boom, 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 whoof. His whole nose gets splashed and he's down and he's out and he's still right. Next guy goes up, knocks him out. They're pulling him off the thing. And he's like, right, next guy. And it's coming to me and my friend. We both like looked at each other and we're like, no way, no way. We walked out and he says, like, if you walk out, you won't get back in the club again. We're like, we're not coming back.
It is very different. Like you, Dove, I've done full contact. And I trained with a Spanish guy who was, just his kicks. It was like being kicked with a lump of wood. And we had a club over in Brixton, and there was a guy from the ex-Foreign Legion guy we trained, and I remember sparring, and we used to do this thing where you stand up against a wall, so you have to stand, and you stand like this, and then in a line, each person in your class will come up to you, punch, kick, elbow, and you've got to stand, because what they call it is conditioning, because most of the time, when you go to a lot of clubs, you punch air. And if you're outside and someone actually hits you, if you've never really been hit before, it can be a big shock to your system. But the conditioning it's painful. The more you do, though, the irony behind it, the more you do, your body just you adapt to it so much. You don't realize how much you adapt to it. You know, when you're sparring, I got my ribs broken. I took a knee to the ribs, and then the guy just kept kicking. I was trying to block. But it was just, obviously the ribs were broken, so it didn't really matter. But the more you did it, the more you got used to it. Now, no, I wouldn't fancy doing it now. Then it was okay, younger. Yeah. But now, no, I'm much more into, no thanks. I don't want to get my ribs broken.
Absolutely. I did a bit of Krav Maga when I was younger as well. And that's the bit that I remember when you did the line thing and everybody came up. They made us run a little bit, come back, and then you were like super exhausted and you had to fight. And yeah, it's funny how you do get used to getting punched. You do.
Yeah, conditioned. Your body just, a bit like when guys that, I think it's like anything. When you first do something, your body's just not used to it. And the more you do, the body just adapts and adapts and adapts. But the problem is you get to a certain age and then suddenly this hurts, that hurts. And and it's because the body can't, your body's not meant to be just pounded. You've got to, So now, in saying that, I do a bit of yoga as well with my training, just because it's more about just helping those, just trying to get your flexibility as well, because that's really important. Flexibility is very important.
Tense. You always, like, people fighters, they always tense. I found out for myself this time, always tense. So, so I started to do yoga as well, actually, recently.
Yeah, no, I did. I learned Qigong, which is
Qigong's very good, really good.
It's a movement, and it's really good. It's good for the suppleness. But I think that's a lesson also from the point of view of, I think looking at people, because when I go on my walks, I do a lot of looking, and you see people are putting a lot of burden on themselves. And they get, just like you said, you get conditioned when you're out in the world. You might not be doing boxing, but you're just punishing yourself a lot of the time. And eventually your body will turn around and say, I've had enough. And then people are like, oh, suddenly I got this, and suddenly I got that, and suddenly I've got sore joints, and suddenly I've got, well, really, I don't think it's sudden at all. I think it's something that we've been abusing for a long, long time. And eventually it comes to pass where your body says, you need to have a break. And so why not, like what you said now, why not put that break in now into your life? I did a live earlier today say, go slow. I'm into going slow now, not because of my age. I've been doing it for 10 years now, trying to go slow. And I've been more productive going slow than I was when my mind was buzzing all over the place. You get a little bit of space to think, a little bit of space to be creative, I think.
And I think again, it's also it's about balance. You need that balance in your life, because I guess if you look at it from the yin and yang kind of perspective as well, if you're doing something hard, you need to do something soft. If you're at work and you're busy, or you've got a stressful job, you need to be able to unwind and relax, because as much as the physical body, the mental side of things, our mental well-being, stuff like that is just as important. And that can sometimes get pushed to one side. And then, whereas like if you have an injury, like you're training, you tear a muscle, or you skateboard, or whatever you're doing, and you break something, it's broken because it's, you can't do something, it's snapped, you have a plaster of cast or a tear, what it is. But when it comes to your mental health, there's a big different story there. It's not such an easy thing just to, oh, okay, it's this, or oh, that's broken. It's very different, and a lot of people find it quite challenging and quite difficult to actually speak about that stuff as well.
Yeah, I think the talking about it hopefully is something that we're going to help contribute to breaking the stigma on this show for sure. But I think it's really important that we break down these barriers of being able to say, what's going on inside me, Avril just saying that yoga is brilliant. She likes that. And she also likes 18-step Qigong. I do 12 steps.
It's amazing. Who is this? I don't know who is this.
Avril?
Yes.
Yeah, Avril's watching us right now.
Yeah. No. I mean, was this 18-step Qigong?
That's Qigong. That's Qigong. It's another way of actually writing it. There's two ways. You can do it CHI, Qigong, or Qigong with a Q. Just depends which part of China Avril's from. So.
Okay, something new for me. I never heard. This one should look at.
Sorry. Can I ask a question? With the Qigong do you do where you slap up here, this one, and then you come up and you do this part very slowly?
So that is part of the warm-up. That's not part of the 12 steps. Yeah, part of the warm-up.
No, I'm just saying, but that's because I remember being taught that years and years ago. I did ear acupuncture.
Yeah.
And and we were doing the Qigong, and it was this, and then it was slow, and so, you could literally feel. Sometimes it would be quite. You'd feel something blocking you.
Yeah, and you can feel the energy. You feel the warmth afterwards.
You just breathe, you breathe, and then it will move. Sometimes it will move, sometimes. But it was really interesting when I did it. I found it really.
Yeah.
I should try it.
Try. It can be very emotional. When I was learning, it was very emotional because you use their whole insides. All right, guys, that's it. This is it for.
Is that it? This is it.
This is it.
And we're going to basically 25-minute shows. And so last words from Inessa. What do you want to finish off with this week?
I will try the new. Reminds me how to say.
Qigong.
And I will share next week how it works for me.
Well, Avril's just give you a tip. So she says it's that's Ronnie Robinson.
Thank you.
Ronnie.
I will write it down now. Thank you, Avril.
Yeah, and it's on the internet, on YouTube. You will be able to get some lessons.
Thank you. I will try. Definitely will try.
Very easy to learn. Okay, wonderful.
Thank you, Avril.
Final words, Mitchell, for this week?
Everyone stay safe and do some Qigong. Do something different. Do some qigong. There you go.
Yeah, some movement. Absolutely, I agree. Definitely do something new. Here's Inessa saying, you know what, do something new. Why not? Even if it's just moving your body, what's wrong with that? And movement. Movement is really important, especially in times of lockdown, which is kind of trying to prevent you from moving, basically. So within your confinement, wherever you are, try and do some sort of movement. And I think Qigong's the name of the game.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty, I guess, of things like yoga, qigong, Pilates, Tai Chi. You can do them in your home. You don't need to have loads of equipment. You can just get yourself going.
Fantastic. So until next week, this is it.
Take
care, guys. See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.